All right, our second story comes from Beech Brook. The title is Shackles, Tea Parties, and the Victory Road. Please welcome our next storyteller, Nancy Kortemeyer.
It's a sweltering afternoon in the hills of southern Ohio. Inside the squalid trailer they call home, 3 children wander among liquor bottles, dirty dishes, and trash. They're hot, they're tired, but most of all, they're starving. They haven't eaten all day, maybe longer, and the situation is spiraling out of control. That's when Kenneth decides to take charge. It's not the first time he's had to care for his little sister, who's just 3, or his brother, who's still a baby. He doesn't know why his mom leaves them alone all the time, or why his dad doesn't come home. And how could he know? Kenneth is only 5. All he knows is that again today, there's no one to care for them. And he wants to cry, as he often does. Mama, Mama, why did you leave us? But right now, they're hungry and something must be done. Kenneth thinks maybe he can make scrambled eggs, so he drags a stool up to the stove. He's just getting started when there's suddenly a knock on the door. It's a police officer and a stranger who says she's taking them to a safe place. Barefoot and frightened, the children are taken from the only home they've ever known. Kenneth doesn't know where they're going or whether their mom will ever come for them. He doesn't know that he will never live with his brother and sister again. He doesn't know yet that there will be no happy childhood for him, or that the road to recovery will be a long and painful journey. It will be years before he understands that his mom supports her drug habit by prostitution. It will be years before he knows that his dad shot himself and he won't ever be coming back. And it will be 7 heartbreaking years before Kenneth, age 12 and out of options, arrives at Beech Brook. Therapist Jean Homerkhausen, fondly known to her clients as Miss H, has worked with many tough cases over her 40 years in social work, but even so, this one's a challenge. As she studies the file, each page detailing the tragic saga of a shattered childhood, she wonders grimly, what does the future hold for this lost child? Separated early on from his siblings, bounced from one foster home to another, reunited with his mom for a brief but disastrous stay. An adoption brings hope that Kenneth may finally have a new family, but his explosive behavior continues to escalate. Miss H reads on. Even with a new family, Kenneth is so out of control that he lands in a detention center where he is pepper sprayed and restrained with shackles, and he's just 8 years old. He returns home, but once again, tragedy strikes. His new dad dies, and his adoptive mom, blaming Kenneth, gives him up, thrown away again. Each new loss leaves a terrible scar, every wound deeper than before. Miss H closes the file and heads to the intensive treatment unit. As she steps inside, a small, fair-haired boy offers his hand. I'm looking forward to working with you, he says politely. It's not what she expects, and it's not what she'll see in the grueling years ahead. Often in the early days, the staff is wary when she comes to meet him, worried about her safety. But Kenneth finds in Miss H the first person he has ever trusted, and she sees in him the highly intelligent and insightful boy buried deep inside his wounded soul. She learns that this once shackled boy loves to have tea parties with hot chocolate and brownies as they talk, small, nurturing moments he had never known. The outbursts still come and go as he begins to confront his rage and loss, but eventually, with Miss H as his lifeline, Kenneth is able to move into a foster home. Still, amid the growing light, times of darkness. One day, Miss H finds Kenneth on the porch of his foster home, banging his head on the wall, crying desperately, out of hope. She holds him until he's calm, repeating over and over, "You can be healed. You are not totally broken. You are gifted and smart, and there is nothing you can do to make me stop loving you." He begins to focus on his schoolwork and participate in sports. he discovers that he can help other children, sitting quietly with them when they are drowning in their own despair. One day he shares a poem with Miss H. Beech Brook is my turnaround place. It showed me the real and true me. It showed me that I am somebody and that I can change. It showed me that I can make it. It showed me the strength not to give up. It showed me the long journey to success. It showed me the victory road. 3 years later, the boy without a future is 18. He's forgiven and reconnected with his mother, who finally transformed her own life. And they're starting over. It's a spring afternoon at Beech Brook. In between therapy sessions, Miss H opens her email to find a message. I graduate Sunday. Finally, it's soon to begin, my life. I cannot and will not forget my roots. I have come very far. I will never give up, no matter what. I cannot forget you. That's impossible. You, by God's will, shined a light in the void I was in. You illuminated my fears of others and helped me face those dragons. I appreciate all you have done for me. You've earned a permanent place in my heart. Miss H knows that Kenneth will always carry the scars of his past and that his journey to healing will continue. But he's traveling on the victory road now, and she knows that Beech Brook saved his life.
Good job. Good job. All right. Thank you, Nancy. Doug Diefenbach, what are your thoughts about Nancy's story?
Well, Nancy, I'm going to tell you from the beginning the thing that I didn't like about your story, and that was that it couldn't go on and on making me feel all the things that I was feeling during that story. That was really tremendous. I really liked the beginning, the reveal. You know, we come up on the scene, we see we're right there with them. It's very immediate. The squalor, you know, I've got the picture in my mind, which makes it very effective for me. So that's great. And you introduce us to our protagonist in the story, who is revealed then that he's got all of these gallant sort of motivations, and yet he's only 5. So how can your heart not, you know, go right out to him? So great job of reeling me in on that one too. We see the inciting incident of him, the police coming. So of course that's, you just know, we know, but he doesn't know at that point that after that his life will never be the same. So there's a little bit of foreshadowing there that you used, which is great. And he doesn't know what's going to happen, but we sort of do. And that's kind of a nice technique in your story. Very cool. One thing that I didn't know was he starts out with this gallant, you know, he wants to take care of his siblings and all that. So I'm rooting for him. And somewhere along the line in his story, he turns into a different person that with a lot of sort of dark motivation. I think you used the word dark. And part of me wants to kind of hear how that happened, to see what his transformation was. So that's what I'd want to have more of in your story. Then you go on and you introduce us when you discover there's a second protagonist in your story, which is great, which is the caregiver. And now we've got 2 people to root for. So now I'm feeling the story both from his point of view and from her point of view. And I think that's very effective, especially if you're using the story as a way of bringing in constituents, because now I can give my money as a donation either because I want to support him or because I want to support her. And I can feel it sort of both ways. So good effective job of that. And I like to see that both of them had discoveries about themselves and about each other. And I like that they both made declarations to each other about what they felt and the role that each of them had in their lives. So you're really telling 2 stories at once, which I thought was very artful and very well done. So great job.
Good. Thank you, Doug. Let's hear it again for Nancy Kortemeyer.